What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and did you hear the bell? That means it is another Market Watch. So guys, it is Friday, we have a lot of cards to cover, and a lot of cards I'm going to tell you just to avoid for now. It's just not worth your money, and there will be cards I'm going to just slightly recommend that you might want to have some sort of investment into. So guys, without further ado, let's dive into the video, and we will talk about it. So first off, let's talk about Event Pack 3. Event Pack 3 is just way too expensive. Even for Baho Hakumon, this card will come down. We just first got our first line of these event packs. Give it a couple months, and we will definitely see this card tank. Yes, Gazaemon is a very popular deck, and it's going to be very useful going forwards. But you don't want to invest into $90 worth of cards of anything like that. So let it just drop right now. I don't see the value in it. I really don't. It's too expensive. And I know you want a max rarity, but the regular rarity is just fine for now. Just use that until this comes out, and then maybe slightly start max rarity and from there. Next card we're going to talk about is Digimon from Tamer Card Set 1. Yes, this is a beautiful art, and it's holding its value for now, but mostly it's like, if you can snag it at the right time, you can get some light played foils. Usually that's a hit or miss in some situations. I don't always recommend it if you can get a good photographs of what you're getting, because light play to some players are different to another, and sometimes you'll get a light play that is actually near mint. There's just maybe one little dink on it or anything like that, and they classify a light play. But then there's other times that a light play might be just heavy played, and that's another issue in itself. But right now, they are in the $50 range, and I know that Digimon is really hyped for the coming sets, but there is the foiled art for it. So there will be classified 4 art renditions. This one, followed by the event pack one, followed by its foiled version in the starter deck, advanced deck I mean, and then the regular art Digimon. So you'll at least have a way of going to mid rarity with this card. So if you didn't get hands on this might just be a thing you passed and just go for that $20 event pack one. Might be worth it at the end of the day. That is up to you though. That is your wallet, your prices. On the Europe side, about $43, which it's on close to being no inventory left on the Europe market. So that's going to be a little scarce for probably a good while on it. But who knows, this can change up, but I definitely know that sometimes these are just classified the higher rarity. So Bellastar is one of these cards that you want to keep on your radar. And the reason for that is the advanced deck will have a Bellastar in it. And depending on what that Bellastar does, it might complement this Bellastar here. And we know how Bandai operates. These advanced decks usually come, well, starter decks in general means that there's going to be support in the next set for them usually. The only one that really got screwed over in that concept really was the secondary decks, usually relating to, the All Force. Well, Gazaemon really more than All Force. All Force support was just used in Gabu Bonds, and the Gazaemon stuff wasn't really used that much. Then you had, Maste and Imperial Digimon, both great decks, got a bunch of support in the following set, which broke the mode a little bit there. And then followed by, now we have Gazaemon and Ragnarlordmon. Ragnarlordmon getting shafted for a couple sets now, which is really surprising. Usually they try to give it some support, but it is still a lottery-based deck, while Gazaemon has just gotten everything that following set. So if Beelzeman does follow the same way, that might see that Bellastar and Beelzeman might get some love there. And what do I mean by that? I mean that it might get some decent support in the main set. They might get their X antibody forms in that main set in BT12. So something to keep on your radar. Nothing I'm going to say rush and buy right now, but might be just be cautious. Very cautious. Don't really go too crazy here. I want you guys to be open-minded about it. Especially since it's like a $50 card on the Europe side, which is not bad for the Europe market. Then we have just regular Bellastar. This is the card if you guys are thinking about it and you want to get in it. I don't recommend the max rarity version, but I do think low rarity, picking up 1 to 2 copies for now, might be a good investment just to keep on the safe side. Especially if you want to be playing Bellastar in BT12 with the starter deck, because whatever that does, it's always going to be that weird fluctuation, because if that card is fantastic in complements, you know what happens. The market rises because of the hype. And I don't want you guys to get blindsided by hype values and stuff like that. Just to have a small couple copies is never a terrible thing. On the Europe side, about $13. I would not say that's not bad at all. Vmon from the Ultimate Cups, we are going to start getting on the lower scale end soon. That means that we are heading on to the final rounds of this year's Ultimate Cups, meaning that there's not going to be any more of these being brought into the market. So now the finite is going to stick. So yes, there are people that automatically already got their Vmons with jamming, and that's a big thing. But finite-wise, eventually when hype support comes in, it rises. So it's just, you're going to be waiting to see on this, and I'm just nervous on players. Don't go too crazy into this. If you guys are looking to improve, I get the max rarity version. This is probably the finite curb here. I don't see this going any lower than $40. I really don't. There's just no point. After the last round in November, kaput. So just keep that thought open there. On the Europe side, about $27, I would say, roughly. Not too bad. Beelzeman Blast Mode. This is another card, I'm going to be really cautious with. Depending on how the advanced deck plays out, it might not be worth investing so heavily in this card, because as someone brought into my attention, that the new way the deck is playing can at least guarantee 4 security with a restand. At least that can lead to really finite things, and it can hit higher numbers in certain circumstances. It's just something to think about. It might be that the deck wants to go with the advanced deck's blast mode instead of this one, and that might mean the advanced deck goes 3-1 on this card. We'll have to see what happens. It's really just a ticking time bomb to see what the deck will finally end up being like. We're only a few cards away, and then we know that we're going to see what it happens in the Europe side. I mean, the JP side. Looking at the Europe side, about $50. That's not terrible. Commandermon from Event Back 1. To be honest with you, as long as you guys aren't hype buying this, give it time. People are going to start trying to undercut each other. The deck will only really see... What Japan is showing is that it really only sees play in the EX3 a little bit. And then everyone just kind of got off of it because Crossheart is still best deck. And unless things change, as in restrictions, ban lists, or something like that, this will probably start coming down from the hype. People are a big D Brigade fan, but I don't see this holding its value permanently. Looking at 24 euros, I see it at 24 euros to being like 26 US. X Antibody with the pre-release stamp. Don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. This card is getting an alternate art foiled edition in the advanced deck. This is probably the time you're going to be wanting to trade these away. Just play the cheap ones, because you're going to be hunting the advanced deck one, and it's 1 per box of the advanced deck. So it's not really going to be worth this, because pre-release stamp is just not going to be the max rarity. The alternate art is just looking a lot cleaner, looks a lot prettier. It's just, to be honest with you, this card is just trade fodder, trade binder stuff. There's just no reason for you to be holding on to this. And then we have about 11 euros. See, this is where I think this is just a little bit better on the Europe side. Should be what X Antibody should reach. And probably they'll go a little bit lower. I expect this probably to hit 8 euros on their side. And that's where it's going to try to hang out for. And we should probably follow suit shortly. Doraemon from Next Adventure previously stamped. This is the max rarity for Doraemon. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is if you want to be playing the final boss of Digimon World 3, the Galacticmon, or something like that, that deck is going to be running Doraemon because of the ability of how the deck interacts. It likes to put stuff underneath, which triggers Duri's draw skill, which can really help out the deck. So I don't think it's a deck to sleep on, and it might be something you want to have for just in case that deck gets a little crazy out of hand. So on our side, it's pretty cheap. I think being able to look at it as a $15 card might be worth a small pickup. So might be worth picking up for the people that want to play the deck. Nothing too crazy outside of that. On the Europe side, it's already $9.50, which is about $10 our side. So that's not terrible. Lucimon Alternate Art. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that I saw a list for the new Mastemon with, you know, the new Tamer and everything like that for BT11, and it was playing Lucimon. Both Lucimons at full playset, and the list did quite well. The thing I'm not confident on this for is that you might want to just keep an eye on the JP format. If the deck starts doing better and better, and it's running the 4/4 Lucimons, it might be good to get your investments now. It's a cheap card at the moment. You're looking at $27, which isn't terrible for its price. For an alternate art too, that also has another form coming, stuff like that. So it's just to be cautious on the safe side. You might want to start slowly picking this up. Looking like $27.50, so that's about $28 on their side. Not terrible. Lucimon from Great Legends, the non-alternate art, is on the $19 mark. So it's really coming down to, do you want to spend an extra $8 and get the alternate art or the regular art? I'm not going to make business decisions for you. This is your money, but it's just suggestions depending on what you want to do. If you're a low rarity guy or growl, definitely pick up your low rarities. Looking at $15.50, which equals on the Europe side, which is 15.50 euros. That equals out to being like $16.70. Hero Cap. I can't support this card being this price. I really can't. The market's demanding it right now because of all the hype behind it. But to be honest with you, we're going to be in a really weird situation when it comes down to the next couple months. And that is from the November to all the way to the February, which is Nats, which we know is BT11. We'll be knowing what we're going into, which is probably EX4. We should know what EX4 is by then. If the Gazaemon line doesn't have its Mega all set and ready by then, this card is going to tank. If it's not competing high enough in events, people are going to trade this off ASAP. And it's not worth it to them to hold on to this. And another thing that you want to keep an eye out on, similar to how Bandai operates, they do like to release Tamer Battle Packs versions after, like, we look at Haven's Yellow Angelwomon here, the Zudomon, the Metal Greymon, and the Mega Kabu Terrymon. All got reprinted with a foil art behind it. Was it needed? No. But I can see that happening to us in the future for the hero promo and for the other ones, just because if they're necessary for the deck, Bandai's kind of decent about reprinting something like that, especially since it's Ghost Game. It's their newest deck they want to push. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it a little more accessible by doing that. So just something to look at, especially if they've already printed it once in their, tournaments. It might be something just to think about. On the Europe side, about $6.50, which is about $7 us, so not terrible. Metal Greymon from New Awakening pre-release. Don't touch this card with a 10-foot pole. I'm telling you this right now. We already have the announcement of the alternate art is the buy a box promo. So it's part of like the one of like 6 cards, like 6 to 8 cards you can get. I wouldn't touch this card. It's just let it fall. There's no reason for it. It's not the max rarity. Looking like €3, about $4. So Garurumon from Promo 07 from the original set is starting to come down further and further. Is that a bad thing? No. Is it a good thing? Yes. So the thing about this is if there's going to be like a two-sided street here. If they don't hit the Garurumon deck eventually because Cross Art is just really good, this deck will still see downgrade. I don't think getting rid of the deck is a smart investment, but because everyone knows that Cross Art is like a $30 deck, you don't need all this expensive stuff, and everybody moves to the best deck in format usually by tournament standards of high-level players. They usually pick the strongest deck that they're going to know. This should be on your back burner because this deck still is going to just be kill them. Just straight up kill them. And that's factual here. There's just nothing you can change about that deck. Europe side about $5 or about $4.50 Euro side. Where Garurumon, same boat actually. This card is about $7, which is surprising. When this card was at its hype was $15. It's good to see it actually come back down into the realistic prices. This is going to be my bet if they're going to hit like where Metal Garurumon in any capacity. This is the card they're going to hit. It's going to be that bring it to 1 status, because if you can OTK with it, you can get it. But the card is just ridiculously strong. It enables too much for itself and for other plays. And I mean, right now, it's showing its dominance, and that's true here. But if they don't hit it and they don't hit Cross Art by the time BT11 hits, I would be very worried. Looking at €7, not terrible. Digimon Emperor, the pre-release card. This card you might want to have in your back pocket. This card screams a little bit against Cross Heart, because when one of your opponents level 3 Digimon is moved from the breeding area to their battle area, gain 2 memory. Especially if they're only just going to climb up to Shoutmon or Starmon, pull it up just to swing in. That's a loss of 2 memory, and that's huge. So, just something to look at and be prepared for. Digimon Emperor is a very solid tech choice to counter Crossheart. So, on the Europe side, about 50 cents. Terrible. Caress Garurumon Alternate Art. The reason I'm bringing this card up is that you might want to have this card. I have a good feeling about the meta, the King Shukamon deck. This card is actually pretty decent for it. It might be a sleeper pick. I'm testing it out, and I actually like it because even if it's just reveal like 2 cards from the top of your deck, and you get at least, what can magically happen is King Shukamon itself comes in, and you already have the Shukamons in there. In your trash. Now you can turn their really big bad into poop and call it a day. that's really important to look at, and it's not restrictive. So it might be a worth to tech in. I don't know exactly yet, but looking on the Europe side, about $2.50. Not terrible, about $3. Sonarisimon promo. Don't touch this card with a 10-foot pole. Let it fall. Everyone started listing like crazy once the alternate art was appeared in the advanced deck. And to be honest with you, the alternate art looks cleaner and a lot prettier. So this card is just going to tank. So don't touch this unless you really need it for something. But at the current format, you don't need it. Looking like €3. Not terrible. Tyranomon Official Tournament Pack Volume 4. This is for the Tyranno fans. The foiled version doesn't really exist. I don't understand why they have a foiled version, but okay. I don't understand that, but it's a $3 card. On the Europe side, just $3 card, basically. Kodem Kudamon. This card is just something to keep on your radar. This one is just in case we get Contorismon support. Might be worth having it. I don't know what's going to happen, how they're going to do anything. We don't know what future holds, but it's just something to have for what you need. It is getting bought decently, but it's just nothing too crazy here. Outside of that, it is a low card, about 10 cents on the Europe side. Omniwan Zord Defeat is actually a pretty solid card right now. It's still solid enough. I think it's not heavily played, and it's in actually a very solid price range. Do I think it can go a little bit lower? Maybe to 25, but that might take a few months to get to 25. I just see people are actually buying this in the $30 range, which is beneficial. At the end of the day, it's solid at $30. A $30 boss Digimon like this might be worth it, especially depending on what the future holds for players. So, just something to think about there. Looking like €26. Not terrible. Gazaemon is another card I want to talk about. This card has been just slowly creeping up. Every couple weeks, it just goes up like a 10 cents difference. But it's enough to notice sometimes. Gazaemon is a very powerful card, but I think if we do see something, I think we're going to see a foiled rendition sooner or later. Similar how Madoki Beta had its counterpart, I think Gaze will get that treatment. So it's just something to think about, that as long as these are vanillas right now, it's worth picking up. $1.20. So about $2 on the $2 on the Europe side. Gazaemon for the starter deck is another card that you want to keep on your radar because of how the new Mastemon deck plays in BT11. It's just something you want to keep an eye on, especially if you have Parallel World Tactician. The starter decks are still plenty, so it's not like it's terrible. You need 2 starter decks to get a full playset, but that's just something to think about. Looking like $5 on the Europe side. And then Himakawa is about $13. This card will probably see some climbing going forwards. And that is only because Black War Greymon is so good in BT11. And they are playing her at a more consistent rate. So it's just something to think about. Especially on the Europe side. It's almost bought out over there. So looking like €5. So that's about it, guys. What did you think of this market watch? Remember, guys, just hit that like button. Leave an emoji if you can. Nothing too crazy here. Just have a good rest of your day, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. And hit that subscribe button if you are not. And remember, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.